Here we go. Let's do this. I'll adjust it before. Good evening. Welcome to the 12-man podcast. Live, uninterrupted, because my hands are up. And we're going to talk, as you can see in the title, Boro's Worst 11. I look forward to this. It's going to be funny as this. Got me, Steve Jackson, in the studio this evening, on the mic, behind the controls, touching nothing. It's Jerry Dalgarno's with me this evening. Even Dally?
No, then you're all right.
Yeah, I'm good.
I think we need to raise that camera. I mean, I keep having
I know. I'll introduce Dicklo first. Evening, Dicklo, you all right?
Evening, lads. All right.
all good, all good.
All good. There we go. You can see Jamie's head live on Facebook. Yes, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify. Might as well be on the old string and cup. So, you know what I mean? We're everywhere now, aren't we? It's great. Right, so get your comments in, get your thoughts in. This is going to be fun, this. So we're going to talk Boro's Worst 11. Our opinion. You know, opinions are all our own. You know, you may think a player's horrendous, instead, for your own reasons. And you may think, you know, you disagree with us, get your comments in. You know, it'll be a good laugh. And then we'll talk Bristol City on Saturday. Back to club football for the next 4 months.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems to have been quite a few international breaks, hasn't it, this year?
Yeah.
I know this time last year was the World Cup, but yeah, this one coming, you think, let's just get on with this festive period.
I know it's like the lead up to Christmas, the best part of the year, football-wise. I can't wait for it.
Definitely.
It's going to be great. But before I start, we both all right? We're all good?
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. Apart from having to put up with watching awful England games. I mean, international breaks come and go, but if you've got a couple of good international games to look forward to, it does help. But come on, these games that you're watching, it's embarrassing, isn't it? You know, so it just makes you miss the Boro even more, doesn't it?
These are the pointless ones, aren't they? We've qualified, haven't we? So it's kind of let's get these done and then we'll move on. Because I think in March is it Brazil and Belgium we've got in March?
Yeah,
that's a bit more like it, isn't it?
Exactly. Try to get a ticket for the Brazil game. I was in the queue and there was 107,000th in the queue. And I just went, nah, came straight out. It's not even happening. So if you've got a spare ticket for the Brazil game, give me a shout. Anyway, right. I usually start with obviously a bit of a review of the last game, but I haven't got one, so let's get stuck into this. I can't wait for this. This is going to be so funny. Right. Have we all gone 4-4-2? I know you have, Dicko. I know I have. Have you?
Yeah, I would say, yeah. They'll all fit in for 4-4-2. Actually, they're all terrible, aren't they?
Well, I've got 2 right backs in mind, so, you know, they all fit in somehow, don't they? So, right. I've been sent a couple of ones in as well. Obviously, Cutler sent me his. He sends his apologies tonight. So there's the John Donovan. He's got a meeting about his next his upcoming gigs in the summer. So he's just sorting himself out for getting himself some bookings. So bless him. We love you, JD. But yeah, so I haven't got JD's team actually. He didn't send me it, but I've got Cutler's. Right, we'll start with the keeper. I'll start with you, Dicko, because that's your forte, expertise, position. Yeah. Start me with a keeper.
I thought long and hard about it, and we've had a lot of very average goalkeepers. We haven't had many superb keepers, and I don't think we've had many diabolical goalkeepers in my time supporting Middlesbrough. But there's a few shouts. I know Middlesbrough fans will be screaming from the past saying Andy Dibble, because he had that terrible spell where he conceded about 9 goals in 2 games on a loan spell. But I'm going to cut Andy Dibble a little bit of slack because I'm old enough to have seen his first loan spell at Middlesbrough at Ayresome Park. And he had a really, really good loan spell at Ayresome Park. Stephen Pears was injured and Andy Dibble came in and he was excellent. And he was really, really good and made some fantastic saves, great performances. So I'm cutting him a little bit of slack for his second diabolical loan performance because he was so good the first time. So I'm leaving Andy Dibble out of it. moving further forward, you had my nemesis, Ben Roberts, who I don't think covered himself in a great deal of glory during his spell at Middlesbrough, even though he's a great lad. And then you move forward to more recent times. Now, to me, it was a straight shootout, the worst goalkeeper I've seen in a Middlesbrough shirt, between Joe Lumley and Marcus Bettinelli. And I've went Bettinelli because the reason is I never seen him make a save. when he first come to Middlesbrough, we got blindsided by we kept a number of clean sheets, and he was excellent at wasting time with the ball, wasting time. And the fans sort of thought, oh, a bit of a character. But then, as the season unfolded, he was just diabolical. Every shot we had, 20 yards, 30 yards, he never saved a thing. He was an absolute catastrophe. And Joe Lumley coming after, and I think because Bettinelli was so bad, then Joe Lumley coming wasn't much better. Joe Lumley probably got more stick than Bettinelli did, but I think that was because Bettinelli was so poor before him.
He was here on the lockdown, wasn't he? He was here on the lockdown, so no one could give him stick.
Yeah, he sort of escaped. He escaped a lot of the abuse he would have got. But Bettinelli, man, I mean, Lumley, to be fair, he was dreadful and let in a lot of poor goals, but he did make a few saves. He had the odd good game. He was a bit of a character, as poor as he was. But for me, I haven't seen anything worse than Marcus Bettinelli in the Boro shirt on a regular basis. I mean, I'm sure people are going to mention Brad Jones, the Aussie. He had a few bad spells with Middlesbrough under to Mark Schwarzer, and he wasn't my favourite at all. But when I look back on Brad Jones, he had some good games. I remember having the blinder at St James's Park against Newcastle, keeping a clean sheet.
I remember him run, wasn't he, as well?
Yeah, I remember him saving a penalty from Ruud van Nistelrooy at Old Trafford. So he had moments of credibility. Marcus Bettinelli had none. So Bettinelli's me boy.
Jesus. See, I don't need to say mine now because that's mine. Yeah. I've gone Bettinelli. Cutler's gone Joe Lumley.
Yeah.
Jason has gone Danny Coyne.
Oh, Danny Coyne.
Didn't mind Danny Coyne.
I didn't mind Danny Coyne. Maybe
he had a good song as well, Danny Coyne.
I was going to say, I changed his name, and then when the other keeper came, we just absolutely abused him for 45 minutes, so it was great. But you've gone different, haven't you?
Yeah, I've gone different. I looked at it. I would have gone Brad Jones, but again, that European run, he was part of that team. If you're looking at an individual performance, we've got one goalkeeper who conceded 16 goals in a game at Liverpool, Jamal Blackman. But at the same time, he scored. He's the only keeper I've seen score for the Boro.
Yeah.
So I couldn't really go in. Jason Steele gives me no confidence at all. I wouldn't have sent him to the shop with a note. And just to be a bit different, or better than it, as bad as Bettinelli was, and as raw and the nightmares it gives me, Joe Lumley, I'm going to go a bit different. But he's not mint, man. Guzan.
Oh yes, I need to write it down. You know.
Yeah, not for me, not at all.
I've only just put in the last hour. Finally got my team together, but I sat last night and looked at keepers, and I looked at Guzan. You know, he had 4 clean sheets for the Boro. I remember going to Chelsea, and I thought we need a result here. Right, I know they're going to be champions or whatever. All 3 goals went through his legs.
Yeah,
all 3.
Yeah,
and I thought, come on.
Less said about him, the better. But yeah,
it's a good shout. You know, when he come to Middlesbrough, I thought he was quite a decent keeper at Aston Villa. And he come to Middlesbrough, and I said to my daughter, "Oh, I've got a good reserve keeper in Brad Guzan, decent keeper." And he come in the team, and she's just like looking at me. I think he was at Oxford. We played in the cup, and he just like was standing there watching the free kicks go in the top corner and stuff. We got knocked out of Oxford, and then they say the Chelsea game, like it was like my daughter. I was looking at us going like Megs. Every time through his legs, he was terrible, wasn't he, for Middlesbrough on loan? He really was dreadful. So it's a great shout. My daughter, I'll be watching this at some point, saying, "Yeah, good shout, Brad Guzan."
Terrible one.
I mean, you were saying there about your daughter saying Megs. Try having someone like meet you away in the Chelsea and going Megs, and I was like, I'm trying to jump this rail and slap you all over. So, but yeah, it wasn't great, was it? I mean, I mean, as someone's mentioned there in their Facebook comments, Ian Barron's just mentioned Carlo Nash.
Did he? He didn't play many games, did he, Carlo?
Yeah, that's why I was like, I don't know about that one. But
handsome fella, though. Handsome fella.
If he does it for you, mate, like,
no,
2023 now.
Good-looking fella.
Right, let's move forward. Right back. Let's go. But yeah, we'll start from the right back and we'll go all the way across to left back. I'll name Cutler's first because he starts with a name and I'm absolutely shocked by it. He starts with Michael Weisiger. I mean,
I know you named him in your favourite team, didn't you? But he was nearly on that. I thought he was a bit of a. I don't think he was a personal opinion, a bit of a flop. Danny Mills, I love Danny Mills, as we know, but did it work? I don't think he's not in my worst, but I don't think it is.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking, okay. So you went Weisiger, Phil Whelan, fair enough. Seb Hines and Joel Bennett. He's gone for cups. Jason's gone Barragan, Bernardo, Espinosa. I thought that's a bit harsh. Espinosa didn't really get a chance in the rubbish. I thought he had a cracking game at Old Trafford on New Year's Eve. But Maxi Haas and Jonathan Grounds. Fair enough. I've gone Ian Darley.
Yeah.
Possibly the worst game I've ever seen in the Boro shirt at Watford. Absolutely horrendous. He came in and you thought, I wonder what he's going to be like. Stop. Just stop. Maxi Haas, Seb Hines, and just to put him in because Antonio Barragan, like
we've got the same back four.
Have we got completely the same?
Same back four, mate. Yeah, I think. Seb Hines. I mean, he was that good. He went on like pub team in America. He was absolutely. It wasn't my cup of tea. I know he played for us in a difficult spell for the club, but
I remember one game he came on against Blackpool. I mean, he came on for Nicky Bailey for a start. He was playing centre half because he was better. He came on within 2 minutes of Blackpool scored no goal. And I just thought, oh no.
Barragan still gives me nightmares.
That throw-in at Swansea. Great position.
Every throw-in. Every throw-in.
He was fine until I remember West Brom away. End of August, he got crunched by James McLean and that finished him. That absolutely finished him. And I was like, he's just a shadow now.
It's rubbish.
He was awful, man. Awful. So we've got the same back four, have we?
Yeah.
Nice. Go on, Diggo, what's your back four?
Well, it was a straight shootout for right back between Tendali and Barahan. For the reasons you've said, Tendali, one of the worst performances in one of the biggest games at Watford, it was like Lucas Engel at Sheffield Wednesday, but earlier. That's what it reminded us of. But unlike Lucas, Dwight Tendali didn't get another chance. He was swiftly removed from Middlesbrough and sent back to Swansea. And then they swiftly removed him from Swansea and he disappeared into the ether. He was terrible. But I went Barragan just because he cost me £3 million and he couldn't take a throw in. And
that's £3 million.
Yeah, and
no.
when
Victor,
Aito Karanka was getting in his moody ways and the dressing room was split between the Spaniards and the English, Barragan then just went missing and didn't want to play for Middlesbrough and basically down tools like a few of them did, like Victor Valdez did the same. And went missing. So for that reason, I've went Antonio Barragan. At right back, centre backs, I've went for Aidan Flint because he cost us £7 million and he came in to be this goal scoring centre back, which he had been at Bristol City, and he missed so many chances for Middlesbrough. It was unbelievably bad. And the worst one was the quarter final of the Carabao Cup at the Riverside, while 1-0 down to Burton Albion. In the last 4 minutes, he had an unbelievable chance to equalise, and he headed it wide from about 3 yards. An absolute plank, awful footballer, terrible.
Speaks highly of you, though.
Yeah, I don't. I've met him actually. I don't care. Absolute plank. Absolute plank.
No, you're not bitter though, about that.
What a word that is.
His first touch, he couldn't trap a concrete parachute. He was diabolical. So yeah, he gets in alongside him from the Brian Robson days, Phil Whelan, which were in the Premier League. were short at the back, and Brian Robson brought in Phil Whelan from Ipswich Town, and he was supposed to come in and help with defensive woes. And I think he made his debut with Sunderland away at Roker Park. He was just diabolical, very similar to Phil Whelan, big lad, no first touch, no pace, plank. So he's in for the same reason, 2 planks together. He's the reason why we signed Fester, actually, because he was just so poor that I think later on that season we dipped in and got Fester in, but it was too late by then. And then at left back, I've went for a superstar, Branko, because he was a fabulous footballer, but when he came to Middlesbrough, he was smoking 25 cigarettes a day. He was about 47-year-old. He had a bigger pot belly than me, and he was garbage. And it was a shame because he cost a lot of money. And for the hype when he comes signing Branko, this free kick expert, but he was just way past his sell-by date, which was a shame. I nearly went for Alan Wright, if you remember him from Aston Villa.
Yeah, I nearly went for him.
I nearly went for him, but he didn't play. He only played a couple of games, a bit like Dwight Tendali. So I went, because of his superstar status and how poor he was, I'm going Branko. I did actually see him score, Branko. He scored against Hereford at the Riverside in a 7-0 win in a League Cup game, and he scored. But he was unfortunately, his legs had gone, so it was a shame.
I think it's lucky that we're on the defence. For me, it's lucky that Engels turned it around, because if we'd only seen him with Sheffield Wednesday, it was something straight into that. But thankfully, he's turned it around.
Yeah,
and we don't see him on this list.
We've had some bad ones at the back, like, haven't we? We've had some really bad ones. I mean, there's a case to put in there. As bad as it sounds, Reece Williams, because he came in and he just got injured. He just snapped some sort of bone in his body. I thought,
terrific injury record, wasn't he?
Oh, awful. Matty Bates was the same, wasn't he?
Yeah.
It was the exact same.
He was actually better in midfield. He was actually better in midfield, Reece Williams. He was terrible at the back because he didn't have the...
Sorry, mate. I remember a goal he scored against Leicester. The ball came in the box. He did it like a Zidane. Remember when Zidane flicked it with one foot and pinged it with the net the other? Oh, I did one of them. It was 3-3. Unbelievable. And I say it was one of the. It wasn't the game the year when they went up. It was one of the years when they were like fighting for the playoffs kind of thing. And unbelievable. Can't believe no one says Sean St. Ledger. I didn't think he was that bad. Sean St. Ledger, I thought he was all right. I think it
was the price tag with him, though, wasn't it, at the time?
Yeah.
There was a massive fee, like 4 or 5 billion or something, wasn't it? They're talking about him.
He didn't want to be. He fell out with Strachan, didn't he? Didn't want to be here, and obviously it's come out since then. And yeah, frustrated. Yeah.
Only good thing about Sean St. Ledger, he went out with Taylor Swift. Stop. The
only way Gordon Strachan could have made his spell at Middlesbrough any worse was by signing him. That's the only way he could have made it any worse than what it was. Just to waste another few million quid.
I remember that because I went to Preston away. Yeah, we went down. Like the first year we were down. I remember Andrew Johnson scored an absolute screamer. He just ripped their team.
Yeah.
I know you shouldn't really mention him, but he did. He scored an absolute screamer. He's talking about 5 or 6 of their players and pinged in the bottom corner. And then they scored late on. And after that, we were like, oh yeah, we're going to sign him. And it never happened. We were like,
he didn't want to sign, did he?
Yeah, he was like, I'm not there for tracking. This is weird, this.
But yeah.
There you go. Right, there's our back line. Right, midfield. I'm going to split this into 2, because obviously I've got a bit more time than I thought. I thought I have to rush through this, but I don't have to. So I'll start on the right-hand side of midfield. So I'm going to start with mine. I've gone Adam Hamill and Adeline Guardiola as half my midfield.
What was his mum? Was it Adam Hamill? His mum used to play table tennis on Ramsey table tennis centre or something. He used to play for Great Britain or something, and that was like the tedious link that we had. Like, I think he was born here or something.
Yeah. Oh, like I remember one game I went to Barnsley, and all he did was he just did step overs, and then nothing. A bit like Traore when he first started. And I thought, what's he? He's on loan, send him back. The Wolves must have laughed at us when we said, yeah, we'll have him. Yeah, awful. And Guardiola, if Tony Pulis can look at you in 45 minutes and go, no, that's enough for me. And Tony Pulis, yeah, enough said about that man. You know what I mean? He's had some good times here, but I know you loved him.
I did.
Yeah.
Love the TP.
Yeah. His baseball cap.
Yeah.
His bright white shoes. But yeah, that's my two. Who's your two?
Because you've named him, is it Guardiola? Possibly one of the worst bits of business I've ever seen. He was absolutely abysmal. I've just never ever got it. I think that's all I've got to say.
£3.5 million quid as well, by the way.
To make it worse about him, he was brought in. He was brought in because Crank was screaming for signings. He's like, I need people in.
It's got Victor Otto all over it, and it was just a horrible sign.
We went through in a week. We went from being with Jesse Rodriguez and Bojan and Rob Snodgrass to that.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened.
I haven't got anything kind to say about him, so I don't really want to say too much more because I just think he just wasn't very good. On the wing though, I know I've done this back to front, but because you named him, I've gone with that way. Ledesma.
Man,
I like that. You know what it is? I like
Ledesma. Couldn't pass it 5 yards. Do you know what it was? He was Argentinian. Was he Argentinian?
He was, yeah.
He's an Argentinian Lewis Wing.
Yeah,
that's the best way I can describe him.
I just remember him scoring some worldies for him.
Yeah, scored some long ranges, but couldn't pass it from meter Steve. Couldn't pass 5 yards. Gave the ball away all the time. Used to drive me absolutely insane. Scored a good goal at Millwall. Again, scored some good goals, but just so infuriating. Used to give the ball away so many times, and yeah, I wasn't on. I didn't shout polite things at him, put it that way. Every time we had the ball.
He was a bit like Tom O'Kink, wasn't he? Tom O'Kink was the same. He scored some absolute worldies for Middlesbrough, Tom O'Kink. But
do you remember his free kick against Burnley?
Yeah.
Just in 30 yards. And I thought, oh, this kid's good. Estonia. I was out there produced him, and I realised why.
Italian torpedo, he was called.
Yeah. And he should have torpedoed his way straight out of here. But Anywho, go on, Stiggo. What's your two? And then I'll give these two a mention. Other mentions as well. Yeah.
I've for two midfield for the right side. I'd the same as you, Steve. Adam Hamill. 10 games for Middlesbrough, no goals from the wing. Step over, Cruyff turn, check back, fall over. That was his Middlesbrough career. Woeful. One of my midfielders, centre midfield, I went for Kevin Thompson.
He's my other midfielder.
Kevin Thompson, come for £2.5 million from Rangers, big reputation. He was unlucky with a couple of injuries, but he played 50 games for Middlesbrough. Massive money he was on. No goals. He left Middlesbrough. He slagged off the club, slagged off the fans, slagged off Middlesbrough's attendances, took the mick out of them. He didn't like Tony Mowbray, slagged Tony Mowbray off. There was literally nothing to like about that man. He was just a waste of time. He basically come to Middlesbrough from Rangers for the money, and his heart was always in Rangers. When he come to Middlesbrough, he had no passion, no desire, no drive. He just come down to Middlesbrough to take the money, and he went back up after slagging everything about Middlesbrough off. So I had no time for the fella. So he was a bang average player as well. He sat in the middle of the park. He went sideways and backwards, which a million midfielders can do. But he was on massive money at the time. So yeah, Kevin Thompson, Adam Hamill, sorry.
He was absolutely horrendous, Kevin Thompson. I mean, he's my second midfielder. The only passing I've ever seen him have was when he came out the other side and started on a lot of people outside the car park, and I thought, what are you doing, you mouse?
He shouldn't have done that. He was made of plasticine, so it wouldn't have worked out well, would it?
Again, for another name that's made mine. Thompson, I think he was probably the first one on there. Like, just there was no connection between him and the fans. And again, slated the club. Okay, I appreciate a broken leg, but surely I don't know. He was just part of that Scottish contingent that come down, and the plan that went completely belly up.
it was up there when he was kicking off about that. Where I'm so sorry if anybody's mentioned him, this guy and the team. When Kai Kamara kicked off, remember when was it malaria or something like that? He was back home in Sierra Leone. He kicked off because Boro wouldn't support him. Well, it's a summer break. Go sort yourself out, kind of thing. You know what I mean? He made it so public and put it all on Boro saying it's your fault. I'm not well.
I think when you look at, when you look at that Scottish contingent that come down, you look at someone who came from Celtic, Barry Robson, who put a shift in, I love Barry Robson. I thought he was a cracker player, gave me some good memories at Sunderland away.
Oh yeah.
But he busted a gut every week.
Yeah.
Where obviously Thompson didn't, and if it doesn't go well, but you've busted a gut, there's a couple of players in here where maybe you look and you go, all right, I've slaughtered him there, but say fine. He'd have tried.
Yeah.
It was just crap. But do you know what I mean? It
was just bang average, wasn't he? Yeah. That was his bad thing.
It must have been a Rangers Celtic mentality, because you've just mentioned there about Kevin Thompson not trying, and the opposite with Barry Robson. Well, the partnership up front that season, which was supposed to torpedo to the Premier League, was Chris Boyd and Scott MacDonald. Chris Boyd, Rangers again, absolutely dreadful, woeful player. Didn't try a leg, came for the money, wasn't fit. Well, at least MacDonald,
he wouldn't fit in the top.
Scott MacDonald, to be fair to him, he scored quite a few goals for a bang average team. And Scott MacDonald tried. He wasn't my favourite player, but he tried. So maybe it was a Rangers thing, but it didn't work.
Like an entitled thing, like we're bigger than you kind of thing. When you really should be in League One kind of thing. The Scottish League are absolutely terrible.
I like Rangers, so I'm not going to slay them. I'm not going to talk about Celtic anymore. Celtic players, so we'll leave it.
I don't like Rangers. I'll sell it, to be honest. I like Motherwell.
Motherwell. Who likes Motherwell?
Mate, honestly,
Motherwell.
When I was away in Magaluf, they were on the telly against Celtic. I was giving you big licks. I was shooting settees and everything when they equalised, and then obviously Celtic scored me 2-1. So I was going to sit back in the corner again. But mate, it's a class. I've got a few of theirs.
So that time you told us you watch the Dutch League every week. Get away.
It's good, the Dutch League. There's a lot of Boro fans watching the Dutch League at the moment. Obviously not right now because it's national break, but you know what I mean.
Been smoking stuff from the Dutch League.
Them trips still. Right, so we've both gone Kevin Thompson. Who's your second centre midfielder? Because you might as well mention it now, Dicko, because you've mentioned ours.
I've went for an old school one from the Ayresome Park days, which is Andy Peake. Andy Peake was Middlesbrough's captain. I thought he used to basically patrol in front of the back four in like a sweeper position because his legs had gone, and he got part of the promotion team with Lenny Lawrence. He was bought by Lenny Lawrence. He was his right-hand man, lieutenant. He brought him from Charlton with him. Lenny Lawrence brought him from Charlton to Middlesbrough, and he was supposed to be this Middlesbrough general in midfield. He was going to be a hard man, run the midfield. And just my opinion, obviously some people might disagree. I thought he was hopeless. He was another player, just went sideways and backwards. His legs had gone, sat in front of the back four. He played 86 games for Middlesbrough from centre midfield, scoring 1 goal in 86 games. Now, the strange thing about Andy Peake was he was Middlesbrough's captain in the Premier League. So imagine this these days. Middlesbrough get promoted to the Premier League for the first time. He's Middlesbrough's skipper in the Premier League, plays most of the games. We'll get relegated. We'll go down back to the Championship. He has another season with Middlesbrough, and then Lenny Lawrence is going to leave because Brian Robson's coming in. Andy Peake says, okay, I'm leaving as well. But where did he go to? Did he go back to the Premier League? Did he go to another Championship team? Andy Peake, at 32 years of age, says, I'm going to join the police force. And he went and joined the police force and become a policeman.
On the bill with Red Jollies.
Can you imagine that these days? You're in the Premier League captain in the Premier League for Middlesbrough, and 12 months later, you leave Middlesbrough for the police force.
Wow.
I remember watching him at Ayson Park against Manchester United, getting the run around off the likes of Ryan Giggs, and he was a for me poor player for me. So yeah, Andy Peake for the older fans out there, not for me.
He went from singing Alive and Kicking for Sky Sports to humming the bill while running down the street. Don't sing anymore. I don't think we've got copyright. Go on, Tigger. You might as well say you left midfielder while you there.
My left winger is I've went for Mark Yates.
So high.
Who was a £750,000 buy from Colchester, from England manager Gareth Southgate. And I think that's when Southgate was starting to lose the plot. He come in. I remember watching. I think it was the first game of that season when he come in. I think we played Ipswich at home. I think we lost 3-1. Scott McDonald scored for us, and the team I could see there was bereft of pace and ideas. And I remember my dad missed that game, and he said, "Well, we got beat. What do we look like?" And I says, "Dad, we look like a relegation team." And he says, "You're joking? All the money we've spent, Gordon Strachan and all that." I says, "We look like a relegation team." And that was the Mark Yates was there through Southgate, then into the Gordon Strachan days, and I think he scored 1 goal for it. Strachan didn't like him, funny enough. Apparently Strachan used to bully him in training and call him out all the time for not doing this, not doing that.
It was the Leroy Lita story, wasn't there? That he's told where we played Newcastle away.
That's right.
And Strachan's in the change rooms after, absolutely caring the players, and he's screaming at Mark Yates saying, "You lost your marker, you lost your marker." It's like, I wasn't even on the pitch. That's probably the PG version, but yeah, sure Strachan had lost the plot, but yeah, Mark Yates. I never minded him, to be fair, but yeah, like I say,
he just didn't produce. He was brought in to be a real creative influence in the team, and you could tell from the word go, he wasn't good enough. So yeah, I'm going Mark Yates.
He's mine as well. Horrendous player. So you must as well say yours.
Yeah, my player isn't naturally a winger, and I've squeezed him in here just because of my pure dislike. I think for him.
For this.
Yeah, Mohamed Shawky. Never want to see that man again in my life. He just, we were in a relegation battle.
Didn't Meadow bring him in?
Yeah, we were in a relegation battle, and I think he had an absolute stinker at St James's Park.
Mm-hmm.
And then my memory's a little bit hazy, but I seem to remember we had to go to West Brom and we had to win. And we got beat 3-0.
Oh, yeah, we got absolutely pummeled.
He was absolutely hideous. And again, there was just nothing about him that stood out in a positive way.
He walked like an Egyptian, though, didn't he?
In every sense of the word.
He wasn't Egyptian. He was from South Bank. He was absolutely terrible.
He's doing kebabs with what do we call his name now?
He was poor.
Mate.
I wasn't a fan.
But,
no, he was poor. I nearly put him in my team, to be fair. He was poor.
There's been a few that have been mentioned in there.
Yeah, Lee's mentioned Carlos De Pena. Yeah. He was good at taking pictures, wasn't he? Good at taking photos and things. I'm trying to read his message. I think that's what he said there. Yeah.
Yeah, he must have visited every place in the North East with his family. Every photo was away from the football ground.
Yeah. Did he AD card made a class? Yeah.
James Lee Saliki. There's a shout.
Oh, Christ. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Jason's mentioned there Barnsley away. I remember that. He was absolutely horrendous.
It was a bit of a bizarre one, funny, because
he came in
Cameroon International, wasn't he?
Yeah, he came in this big thing. We brought him in because he wasn't getting game time. We thought we'd give him it for, I think it was the African Cup of Nations or something. And wow, Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
Never again.
I was a footballer. You know what I mean? I'll quickly go through what Jason and Cutler have gone with. Cutler's gone Tommy Rice, well, D-Guard, Guardiola, Gary O'Neill. I reckon I know why he's put Gary O'Neill.
Is that because he said about the yellow card story?
Yes. And to be fair, I'd wrap a 9-9 around his face for doing that.
Yeah, for those who don't know, he said since playing for the Boro, the Masters were on, and he needed 1 yellow card for suspension. And when he was captain, he deliberately got a yellow card, so he had the weekend off.
It's a game as well, he did it, isn't it?
Yeah. We won a relegation battle then as well, weren't we?
Yeah. It was a game against Bolton. I and we got hammered 4-1, and for me that was the beginning of the end. I thought we're gone here. There's no way. Jason's gone. Same two centre midfielder, Guardiola and Digar. Wingers are different. Amiobi. Do you remember Sammy Amiobi? Remember him?
In his first spell here, as I said before this, he scored probably the best goals I've seen at the Riverside against Cardiff.
Unbelievable.
And I didn't think he was that bad. I mean, his second spell,
Still at the Riverside, isn't he?
I don't even think he came. I think it was just.
I think he's still in. I'm pretty sure I passed him in the Southwest while I was down at Plymouth the other weekend. He's still down there. I think Warnock left him. Just where is he?
It's bizarre, isn't it?
Did it never come out? What happened with him? Did it never come out?
I don't think it ever come out.
It's still a mystery.
It's really weird. And his other midfield, he's gone Gio O'Shea.
Gio O'Shea, yeah, he's a winger, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was terrible.
He's a little bit like Adam Hamill, wasn't he? Similar type of player.
We got a couple in from Lee Fisher and Chris Turner, and just to pick out a couple of players on there. I know Lee, we've just touched on there. He mentioned dependent, but Mark Wilson.
Wilson, Man United player.
Yeah, came from Man United. Yeah,
come with Jonathan Greenan, didn't he?
Yeah,
come with Jonathan Greenan.
And Chris has gone with two names that we haven't got on there: Willow Flood and Victor Fisher.
Victor Fisher, that's
didn't match Victor Fisher. Yeah. But again, he just after the Boro, he just disappeared, didn't he?
Victor Fisher, I can tell you a bit about him because I don't know if you can remember. I went across with my daughter to Copenhagen to meet him because he was my daughter's favourite player at Middlesbrough.
I wonder where you were going with that then. When you say
he was my daughter's favourite player at Middlesbrough, and he was obviously pushed out by Gary Monk. He wanted to stay. He had an injury season at Middlesbrough in the Premier League. Aito Karanka didn't use him wisely, and then what do you call the manager coming after Karanka, the assistant manager?
Steve Agnew.
Steve Agnew just wouldn't play him, wouldn't touch him. He wanted to stay at Middlesbrough in the Championship, and I think he would have been cracking in the Championship at Middlesbrough. But they moved him on. Gary Monk moved him on. He went to Copenhagen, where he went on to win the couple of league titles at Copenhagen, the Cups at Copenhagen. He played in the World Cup for Denmark and was flying across in Denmark. And we went across to meet him. We arranged to go across through a family friend. We went to the training ground at Copenhagen, met him, interviewed him. The interview's on YouTube still, possibly, and was in the Evening Gazette. And we met him. He was a fantastic fella, gave it all of his time, spoke really highly about Middlesbrough, loved the supporters, was so gutted that we went down. He couldn't believe how, even though we're down the bottom of the league, we're filled with stadium at home, sold out the weekends away from home. He absolutely was heartbroken that it didn't work out from the Middlesbrough because he had a real connection with the supporters in the area. And he was a superb fella and a superb player. I went across about 3 times to see him. Met him 3 times, seen him score the winner in the Copenhagen derby against Brøndby. He was a fabulous player. He's retired recently at 29. He got a real serious injury at Copenhagen, which he never recovered from. And he went to Antwerp in Belgium, which Faris Haroun plays for, ex-Middlesbrough. Haroun, yeah. And he couldn't recover from the injury, from the Copenhagen injury, and he had to retire at 29. He was when he was at Ajax, he was supposed to have been the next big thing on the planet. He was that good. And he got a bad injury at Ajax, which curtailed him. But he was a super talent, and more important, he was a lovely fella. So it's a shame what happened to him.
I knew that because I watch Dutch football every week. Oh God! Every time I see like an old goal of like someone like Van Bommel or something, I just think of you going, get a grip.
I don't even know half the players. Just put Van in front of the name. There's Van Smith.
Van Smith. Van Smith, get in. Right. Strikers. I'm looking forward to this. I've got my speech ready. Right. I'll let you go, you two first. Who have you got up front?
Well, the obvious one, I know it's obvious, but I just had to do it, is Rudy Gestede. You know, everybody knows the reasons why, but, 71 games, 8 goals, £6 million fee. The bloke was an absolute prat. The way he went on with Middlesbrough fans at times. he had a real chip on his shoulder. But I just used to hate him because of that goal that he scored for.
I used to hate him.
I did that goal he scored for when Dinny got fouled for Blackburn and he scored. And he never recovered from me for that. And he hadn't even played for then. And when he come to Middlesbrough, I had an instant dislike for him for that. But the main reason is, and I'm sure you'll remember this. Can you remember the miss at Swansea away?
Remember
that
it?
big game.
I ran in the home end. I jumped over that little bar and I ran in.
You can see it now. The cross swinging in. There he rises like a salmon. Rises like a salmon. Hit the target. Massive win for Middlesbrough in the Premier League, and he missed. And he was an appalling player with an appalling attitude, and yeah.
Stinks of Victor Rada. He stinks of him, doesn't he?
Awful footballer. Yeah. So
people are still like trying to go, oh my God, I can't believe he's missed. And I've got South Wales Police, go and get yourself back in there. So that's embarrassing. It's like, yeah, my bad.
And my second choice is the worst player I've ever seen in a Middlesbrough shirt by a country mile, which was Lee Miller, who was a player was signed from Aberdeen for £500,000 under Strachan as a striker. And he was that poor, I felt sorry for him. He played 11 games, scored no goals, and he was... I can only describe him as like taking a Sunday morning footballer and putting him onto the pitch in the Championship and saying, go and have a go, mate. He was absolutely abysmal. He had nothing. I still to this day don't know what we're signing him for. And his career path after Middlesbrough was just like, you know, lower levels in Scottish football and
security guard.
Yeah, honestly. If any Middlesbrough fan can remember Lee Miller, you'll know what I'm talking about. He was horrific.
Yeah.
Horrific.
Yeah, Jason's put him in his team, Miller and Gusted. Who have you put, Kelly?
I've got my strike partnership that put fear into fans' eyes. Had 80 appearances between them with 8 goals. Big Rudy Gusted.
Oh, wow.
And Alex Nimley. Absolutely disgusting player. And then the only goal he scored when he was at Coventry was against us in 17 appearances, and he just couldn't make it up.
He would have made my team if it wasn't for Lee Miller. He would have made my... That shows you how bad Lee Miller was. He was worse than him. But yeah, Alex Nimley, awful.
It's mad when you sit down and write, and obviously we haven't come to your seat today, but when you sit down and write and you go, everyone goes, don't go Clee. I go, yeah, but he scored, but Nimley never. Like, I know it was against like Mansfield or someone like Macclesfield or something, but Alex
Don Gook Lee was like Ibrahimovic compared to Alex Nimley.
Statement, but you're not far wrong.
Oh, if someone can clip that for me and send it through, that's amazing. That's amazing. Right, I've obviously gone Rudy Gusted. Obviously, absolute worst, but probably one of the worst human beings I've ever come across.
Yeah, I love you, Rudy Gusted.
I'd love to knock the plank out, honestly. Like, I know it all kicked off, didn't you, after Newport? Like, I never said this, never did. I've never been so salty in my life, and all I did was go and get me flag, and he'd give me the verbal abuse, and I was like, who are you talking to? And it took a Newport steward to keep hold of me. Stop going over the advertising board that was on the floor, which was really weird. But yeah, rank. Like, I remember he scored an overhead kick against Oxford, and he ran around the pitch like it was probably the greatest goal he ever scored in his life. I thought, mate, you're playing against rejects and League One. Stop. I never celebrated the goal he ever scored, maybe because there wasn't many of them. But that guy was an absolute dinbast.
Celebrate the one against Sunderland. Give him that, but that's all I'll give him.
Yeah, dinbast, absolute dinbast. And the other one was Marcus Bent. Marcus Bent was rank, absolutely rank. He has a bit of a good career, and then he hit us, and it fell off like the Titanic. It fell. I was like, you know, when you're watching a footballer, and you can tell, right, you're getting towards the end. That's what I saw when I saw Marcus Bent. And I knew we were paying good money to him as well. And I was like, oh, Jesus. You can't hit a barn torso. Sorry.
There was a few names in this one that we could have gone for. I know that Lee's got on there, Bartokovic, But I just remember West Ham away.
Oh, that goal against West Ham was enough for me.
Big-ish Miller.
It's a shame, you know. There's a lot of appalling players that could make this team.
Yeah.
I could make 4 or 5 squads, honestly. Marlon King, there's another one. Caleb Foley.
Marlon King, yeah.
So, who would you have gone for your manager, Steve?
Manager. Oh, God. Oh, are we that'll go caretakers?
Go anyone you want.
Oh, God, Steve Agnew. Jesus Christ. Awful.
Yeah.
I can't.
Steve Agnew / Gordon Strachan for me. Gordon Strachan. I actually quite like Gordon Strachan as a personality pundit, but at Middlesbrough, he was just everything he did was just wrong. What he said was wrong. His man management was wrong. The players he bought was wrong. He admitted he held his hands up, didn't he, at the end when he left?
Yeah, that's a bit of respect.
He left a little bit. You see, he left a little bit of respect and held his hands up and admitted what he had done was poor, and he kept a bit of respect there, but it took years to recover from Gordon Strachan's spend. That was the big shame. And when Tony Mowbray came in, his hands were tied due to the spend under Gordon Strachan, which was a shame because, as we can see now with Sunderland, Tony Mowbray is a capable manager, and if he had a little bit more money at Middlesbrough, I think things would have been a lot better. But yeah.
It says everything about Tony Mowbray that he had to endure 3 years of financial fair play, like handcuffs. And they're all 3-year periods. So Strachan spent that much money. He knocked 2 periods worth of money out in one go. And he spent it on, it might as well have been 11 slices of shortbread on the pitch, you know what I mean? It was that bad. Awful. Trying to follow that around the country was really tough. Really, really tough. Who was your manager?
Oh, Steve Agnew.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know, at the time that Aitor Cranker left, there was really only one man who should have got the job, and he's a man. There's a lot of dislike on this one, but a man I really dislike, and he should have had the job, and it should have been Harry Redknapp.
Yeah,
he was the only one to keep us up. But we went with Steve Agnew, who had all the personality of a netball bag. He was just like, honestly, he couldn't.
For the younger viewers, Nettle is just like little.
He's just.
Yeah,
we were relegated there and then.
Oh yeah,
he was shocking, wasn't he? As I say, Victor Fisher, I was mentioning before, you had all these players on the bench that he could use, and he just wasn't using them. He was appalling. He hardly won a game, did he? Did he win a game?
Yeah, he won one. Sunderland.
One game. Yeah. He was
terrible. Sunderland won now, and that was probably one of the worst games I've ever been at. I only enjoyed it a little bit because of food things. Yeah.
So I mean, you've got to have a shout out for Gary Monk as well.
I was just about to say, someone's sponsored Gary Monk.
I don't know Gary Monk on here. I don't want to be getting
right. I brought him on especially for this, right? I'm not having anybody bad mouth him. But no,
it was bad though. I think it was just like sneaky behind the scenes, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's a bit of a rat.
I mean, I know he spent a lot of money, but if we'd got to the end of the season and gone up, no one would have said anything if we'd have kept with him.
I think we would have gone up with him. I still think
it was just everything that came out in the back, wasn't it?
Yeah.
With the links with Swansea, like the secret talks and stuff, and
yeah, that was pretty. It said everything when he's like most of his backroom staff didn't come up with either. I mean, the man that was supposed to be the brains behind him, Pep Clotet, didn't bother. Like he went and did his own little thing, and I don't think they've actually.
Did he go to Oxford?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's right.
Didn't last very long there either. But yeah, says everything. If his assistant coach is going, I'm not going anywhere near you anymore. So it was a shame because I thought he was a really good manager, and that squad should have absolutely ran this league all over the shop.
Should.
Yeah, but
should have done.
But then all of a sudden they hit the A19. So yeah, as most players, as it happens to everyone. So right, there you go. If you agree, disagree, don't care, to be honest. But you know that's how that's how works 11. Send yours in. Yeah, that was a right laugh doing that. I knew it was going to be good. Right, we've got 10 minutes. Let's preview Bristol City. So Bristol City, new manager, just brought in. I know he's had a game in charge, which I think they won. If I'm not wrong,
Drew.
Oh, the Drew. Yeah,
the Drew. Yeah.
It was Millwall's new manager that got a winning start. Liam Manning is coming from Oxford. If you want to look at League One, Oxford are flying, absolutely flying at the moment. So he's left them in a really good place. Shows the quality of his his pedigree. He's brought them up really in stages as well. He's done it in good bits. So fair play to him. He's upcoming manager. But Diggle, we've got a few problems ourselves now. Obviously, the news came out today about Lenihan missing the rest of the season. That's a massive blow. That's huge. One of our leaders gone.
It's not so much that it's a huge blow like immediately, because I think, to be fair, McNair and Dale Fry are playing superbly well at the moment, and neither of them would be coming out if Lenihan was fit. But it's the impact it's got on the squad moving forward, because we've already lost Tommy Smith for the full season, so that's another one gone. We've already lost O'Brien till next year, on loan from Nottingham Forest, which is, he started well, he looked a good player. He's gone, so that's 3 down. And what's worrying me more is when is McGree and Force going to be available? Because then you're 5 down. And we're going into the Bristol City game, like you say, which is going to be a tough. We'll seem to struggle a little bit down there. And they've got a new manager, like you say. And unfortunately, we've also got the added disaster of Isaiah Jones and Matt Crooks being suspended, apparently. So we really are looking at the bare bones of the squad.
Yeah.
Yes, we can bring in Rodgers, we can bring in, say, Silvera to replace them in the starting 11, but as the game progresses and goes on, when you look at the Middlesbrough bench, it's not going to have that strength to what we're used to seeing.
And you've got Shoggy's number.
It's a little bit. I would say it's not so much a worry over the next 2 or 3 weeks, but I think if McGree and Force don't come back over the next 2 or 3 weeks, with all the games we've got this month coming thick and fast, and the cup game, the Port Vale, I think it will be a real challenge for it in a few weeks' time. So it's a concern for me, and we need to try between now and January to keep ourselves in the mix. I was talking to somebody today about this, actually, and I said, if I could take Middlesbrough being 2 points off the playoffs like we're on now, come January the 1st, I'd be over the moon.
Yeah. I probably had to took that in September, to be fair. We were absolutely bad in September. But question for you, Dally. Now Crooks is out. Is this the time for us to try Laff and Coburn up front? Little and large. Bit like your strike force.
I think I think you're going to have to try it at some point, but it would be nice to have a backup striker on the bench.
Yeah.
Because once the flag in, normally Crooks would be the one that you would use Crooks as that striker, so there's 3 of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still think he's going to go. I still think he's going to leave one on the bench. Maybe just put Barlasser there. I don't know which way he's going to go with it, but like you say, I can't see him playing them both together, especially with all the games we've got coming up.
I think Daly's right. I think Daly's 100% right. I think what you'll end up seeing is you'll see Rodgers come in for Crooks in the number 10, and you'll have Silvera will probably come in for Isaiah Jones, and like Daly said there, you'll want to keep Latif Laff to come on to replace Coburn as the game progresses, because we're not going to have many options on the bench.
No, we're not. That's going to be the
but it's a chance for squad players to try and state a claim. Silvera it's a good spell. He can keep his place. But
we've got a big week coming, haven't we? Because we've got Bristol City on Saturday. Yeah. Then Tuesday we've got Preston at home, and then we go down the road to Leeds. And Ellen Road's not an easy place to go. I know they're not exactly ripping teams apart at the moment. I know they're winning games, but they're not. Just do what Daniel Farke does, gets along in the Championship, cracks along. But it's not an easy place to go. We've got a hard week coming, a really hard week.
We've got to take it one game at a time and see how we got on it.
We really do. It's going to be. I mean, we'll preview the other 2 games next week, but it's going to be.
If we go to Bristol and get something, even the point, I think it'll be a good point. I didn't think that. It's like, it reminds me of when we were talking a few weeks back about Plymouth being a bad point, and I said, well, not really. It might be a bad point if we get nothing against Leicester, but if we get something against Leicester, the Plymouth point then looks a good point. Now, I think it's the same now. It's like, if we go to Bristol and get something, we're in a good place going into Preston, because we've suddenly then got Matt Crooks, who's had a rest, Zaya Jones, who's had a rest, all coming back, and the players that have come in to take the place have had game time.
Is it just
and we're
one
suddenly
game suspended for, Steve?
Yeah.
I haven't looked
just
at
one. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
one.
it's just one game. Yeah, so they'll both be back for the Preston game. So then you
Sorry, comment there about Leeds. You know, Sam Greenwood won't be able to play against Leeds.
Yeah, that's a worry.
Which is the fact that we've got Crooks back and Jones is, I suppose, some comfort at that point, as long as they don't get injured.
Hey, let's hope by the time we play Leeds, let's hope we've got McGree back.
Yeah,
you know, because McGree can come back in to replace Greenwood. You know.
Hopefully we get some sort of update on McGree soon. It's been a couple of weeks, we haven't really heard anything. We don't know what's going on. Hopefully, because it's going to worry a couple of Boro fans now, because we didn't really hear much about Lenihan. We was just like, he's out, and all of a sudden, Lenihan's out for the season. That's it.
That was the same with the 3 injuries that they've had.
Mm-hmm.
Was very quiet, and they all announced it on social media. The club never announced any of them. The O'Brien one, he put a picture on social media of him in a hospital bed. Tommy Smith put a picture on.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And then obviously Linehan. So the club aren't announcing it; they're leaving it to the players to announce it.
Yeah, it's like we don't want to really spoil your day. We'll just let the players do that and ruin their day. But yeah, it's going to be it's a big loss. That really big loss. So obviously, because if Paddy or Dale get injured, like we're both in there.
No, I know I haven't got a lot of time left, but just going back to what you were saying about the centre back state, the bit that concerns me a little bit now we've got these injuries, and I know maybe he's thinking a bit far ahead, is what happens if you get a cheeky bid for McNair in the January transfer window when he's got he's only got 6 months left.
Depends what the bid is.
You know, if it's a good bid, you take it. Then you're down to, you can put Van der Berg at centre back. You've got is Clark ready to come back into it.
You know, you could look at the Premiership. If that say we've got a decent bid for McNair, which was you had to take it financially for the club, you could always look at a Premiership loan, couldn't you? For 6 months. For 6 months, maybe
you might be looking. You might have had a striker lined up, mightn't you? And I suppose if we've got enough loan gaps in the team that we can take the loan players, because I know you're only allowed so many, aren't you?
Yeah.
Obviously, we didn't see Muniz all year last year because of the but
I think we'll get a couple of Premiership loans in January.
Yeah, too. But yeah, so that leads us nicely onto goal scorers and scores. Do you want to go first, Ali? Who are you going to put with your 1-1?
I'll go 1-1, and I'll go Rodgers.
1-1 Rodgers. Okay. Dicko?
He's totally stole me thunder. I thought I'm going to beat him to this. If you'd asked me first, I was going to say Ali 1-1 Rodgers. But he's totally stole me thunder. I'll have to go Boro win now. I'll let me heart rule my head again, and I'll go 2-1 Middlesbrough, and Latty Lath will get the winner.
Okay. I'm going 2-2. What's that? I like Ashton Gay as well. So 2-2, and I don't know. Hackney, who by the way got another assist for England. He's really flying at the moment, isn't he? He's going
to be in the Premier League next season, isn't he? Without unfortunately.
Oh, he's a talent.
Hopefully it's with Middlesbrough, hopefully.
I really do pray. And just like that, we're done. Finished. Done. Gentlemen, thank you very much for having a chat with me. That worst
Pleasure, Steve.
That worst 11 was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant. Yeah, get listening to that one. Get your comments in. Get some, yeah. And we'll chat again next week, because we've got a lot to talk about next week. Obviously, a couple of games to preview, one to review, and hopefully no more injuries. So pray we're doing all right, and I'll see you all next week. Up the Boro.
Seeing you. Up the Boro.
Up the Boro, boys.